If it was up to me, if I had to choose the number one alternative to an F-150, it would be, with the F-150 being the best-selling vehicle in America, either you have one or you know somebody who has one, but how often do they actually use it for truck stuff? And that's what got me thinking about what would be the best alternative for an F-150 without being a different submodel of F-150, okay? So what I was thinking was, I know I read somewhere that most people use their F-150 for towing, less than half the time. So I looked it up. Well, the last number I could see that was realistic was 75% of people use their truck for towing once or less a year. So 3/4 of everybody who's using their F-150 rarely use it for F-150 stuff. So why would you drive around a big cumbersome body-on-frame truck if you didn't have to? And before you guys talk about it in the comments like, oh, this guy doesn't know about trucks, blah, blah. Well, my first car was a 1500 Silverado. I drove that for quite a long time. My second car that I drove the most was a Duramax 2500 diesel truck. So I've driven trucks for quite a while. I understand trucks. I understand that, yeah, you don't use them very often for actual truck stuff. And if you do, if you're part of that 25%, let me know what you do with them. Is it part of your job? Let me know, okay? I want to hear it. I want to see what you guys are doing, because I like trucks. I think trucks are cool. Like I said, I've driven those trucks for more than any other truck any other vehicle in my 19 years of driving. Probably those two trucks collectively. So I enjoy them, but they're not necessarily the most practical things if you are just commuting, just driving around. So what are going to be the two best alternatives to an F-150? And I'm going to kind of go in two different ways, and we're going to see if that resonates with anybody. Let me know if you chose one of these two cars instead of an F-150 and why you did it, okay? My first option, my first, side quest off of an F-150 would be the Toyota 4Runner. And I say this because I've heard a lot of people who have, said that they like trucks because it makes them feel like they're up in the air, they're higher than the other cars in traffic, so they can see through things a little easier. They can see over, they can see what's going on. It makes them feel a little more safe. And I get that. But if you want to have kind of that truckish feeling, and I know that 4Runners aren't trucks. Toyota doesn't even call them a truck. They call them an SUV. So if you kind of want that truckish feeling, but also a shorter vehicle, because with trucks you have that longer bed on it, and sometimes it is harder to drive around. They're harder to park. And I know some people are going to say, well, I'm really good at parking a truck. I'm driving it for 1,000,000 years. Yeah, I get it. But it's easier to park a car that has a shorter wheelbase than a car that has a longer wheelbase. That's just how it is. So it'll be easier to park, that's what a 4Runner, than it would be for a truck. It does have a little bit of towing capability. With Toyota's V6s, they historically have the fuel economy of a V8 with the horsepower of a 4-cylinder. They're not the fastest, but they work, and they do good at basically staying alive. Okay, so that would be my first choice if you wanted to go down that route. But what would be my number one pick for an alternative to an F-150? That would have to be, hang on, the Honda Ridgeline. And stay with me, hold on, stay with me. I'm saying this because a lot of people do use their truck, at least I had trucks, that's what I use them for, would be to put stuff in the bed. And, to carry stuff around like that. Not necessarily towing. I think I towed with the trucks that I had collectively less than 9 times. And I had them for quite a while. But stuff in the back of the bed, heck yeah, I would do that all the time. We'd go, load up the motorbikes, do some motorbike stuff. I'm from Idaho, so we would do other Idaho things and stuff like that. So it still give you the bed if you want to do truck bed stuff. But also, one of the major bonuses I see with that Honda Ridgeline is it's not going to feel like you're riding around in a mining cart. And that is because it's going to be that unibody type of style. It's not going to be the body on frame where you have that hard feeling of a truck, the truck feeling of being uncomfortable. It's going to be a lot more soft. It's going to ride more like an SUV because it basically is. It's basically going to be a minivan with a bed on it, which makes it the most perfect vehicle ever made. It's going to have all-wheel drive if you need to have all-wheel drive. They have that option. Once again, it has a bed. It has the same seating as an F-150 would have, unless the F-150 had the bench seat in the front. You're going to have 5 in each spot. And it's going to do what you need to do. If you need to tow something that's going to be heavier than its actual towing capability, go rent a U-Haul truck. Okay, U-Haul has tons of trucks that you can rent out. Use that to tow that one with, and that will make your daily commutes a lot better if you just have to rent it for that one or less time that you're going to use it that year. I think it just makes sense to me. If I were to choose between those three, if you lined up an F-150, if you lined up the 4Runner, and if you lined up that Honda Ridgeline, I would honestly choose the Ridgeline. Probably 9 times out of 10. Because I have kids. I have 3 kids. So the kids would fit in the back. They'd have a little bed to do truck stuff with. If I need to do truck stuff with bed stuff, whatever. Go to Home Depot, pick up some mulch or some fertilizer, whatever you want to do. Some plywood, whatever you want to do for truck stuff. Throw in the bed. It's going to be fine. Everything's going to work the way it needs to work. It's going to be soft. It's going to be a soft riding vehicle. You're not going to be riding around with your kidneys exploding like you're in a mining cart because you had to have that truck. It's really, it comes down to your preference. And I know that a lot of people, two of my brother-in-laws want trucks for no major reason. They just want a truck because they want to have a truck. And I get that wholeheartedly. A lot of people, it is going to be not necessarily a status symbol in their life, but it's going to be a milestone. Some people, like to think that when they get to a certain amount of age, when some people get to a certain age and they're adults, then they want to have a truck because all the adults that they looked up to had a truck, blah, blah, blah. And I get it. There is a little bit of ego that plays into there, and I get it 100% because they're fun. They're fun to drive around. You do feel big and bad when you're driving around in a big and bad truck. That's just what happens. So I get it 100%. If that's what you want to do, that's what you need a truck for, I don't care. Go for it. Go for it. Have fun. Do what you need to do. But if it was up to me, if I had to choose the number one alternative to an F-150, it would be that Honda Ridgeline. What do you guys think? Tell me how off I am. Tell me how incorrect I am. I'd love to hear it. Once again, like I stated in the very beginning of the video, if you do use a truck, almost daily for work or for whatever you need to use it for, let me know what it is. Because there are a very small percentage of you that actually do. So I'd love to hear from you. If you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that bell button. And I love you. Goodbye.